gangster rap and misogynist lyrics that glorify violence and denigrate women is nothing more than pornographic smut.
And now the attack is on rap.
Negative rap is not all right. Negative rap is not all right.
There is no such thing as gangster rap. Rap is rap, period.
People trying to like put a stamp on, you know, the type of music that we do and try to put a hold on it.
I'd say it's reality. If gangster is reality, I guess that's it. Gangster, it's cool.
Gangster rap is opportunity for people in the ghetto who have nothing to do with themselves, such as ex-gang members, ex-drug dealers.
All we doing is being reporters like Connie Chung and reporting what's going on. If I was a real gangster, I wouldn't be telling you what's going on, I'd just be doing it. I'm having a bad day, so stay out of my way. And with the pistol back and people say you're better already.
With all the controversy surrounding so-called gangster rap and its alleged negative effect on America's youth, we asked 6 very different young music fans from around the country what they thought about the music and its message.
Gangster rap is rap that depicts a lifestyle of crime and drugs and sex.
I've never heard anybody use the term gangster rap except in the news.
Basically, I think gangster rap is just hardcore beats with, you know, just dope lyrics over it, you know, just stressing a point of what people go through.
But I think there are those rappers who don't draw the line between education and provoking violence.
There's no such thing as gangster rap. Gangster rap is something somebody gave a name to. There's no definition for it.
If someone was rapping gangster rap, it'd be kind of nice if they had some previous knowledge about it.
Never let me slip, cause if I slip, then I'm slipping. But if I got my Nina, then you know I'm straight tripping.
Is gangster rap determined by your dress, the songs you make, the album you make, the record company you're on, the town that you come from? These are all incredible variables that make it very hard for us to define what it is.
Is Frank Sinatra a gangster singer? You know what I'm saying? Is Steven Seagal a gangster actor?
I think what we have to do is define and understand what these messages are that are coming out of the music. If the messages are excessively violent and negative to society, then we need to talk about them and talk about them honestly. How did we get those messages?
Really, it's a cry out because it's like genocide going on there. You're losing a whole generation of people that could help contribute not only to this country, to this world. And they're crying out about it through their music.
There's such a difference now in terms of the attitude of rap music from the message to today. The message still implied hope.
Push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. And that's just like 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So it's like the music has a message behind it. It's telling you, get it right. We ain't standing for this no more.
Well, you know, 10 years, 12 years really later, with the absence of anybody paying attention to Melly Mel when he was saying, don't push me, we have kids who are saying, I don't care. You know, I'll buck you down, I'll do whatever I have to survive, because nobody cares about me, so why should I care about anybody else?
Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat came my tech from the bushes. I blast with no heart, cause I'm heartless and I tread.
Poverty in America's inner cities has often led to crime, partly due to the lack of opportunities for the kids growing up there. But when in the early 80s the government dismantled many of the social programs that helped support these minority communities, the kids who made and listened to rap music were left with little else to do but hang out and seek support in gangs. Then, into this cultural and economic vacuum came the crack trade.
So we start to hear now even more in the music, a different development, almost like despair.
The crack cocaine trade brought with it a lot more money, more greed, and more violence, especially within the gangs. But in New York, hip-hop became an outlet for the youthful frustrations that fueled gangs, such as Africa Bambaata's Zulu Nation.
The greatness of Bambaataa was that he was able to transcend the energy that was involved in the gang scene and put it into this musical culture DJ scene that we now call hip-hop. So for the whole time since hip-hop was developed, you know, in the mid-70s, a lot of the kids who would have been in gangs actually wound up becoming rappers, DJs, dancers.
Before we had people that was teaching in New York, you had the X-Clan, you had Public Enemy, You had Kearse, and who was putting pictures that was waking up people. Then this whole thing came from the West Coast, which I'm sorry to say was negativity.
That's right.
Those are still my brothers, but they was teaching negativity.
New York rappers do a freestyle. They rap about lots of different topics, and it's fun, but all my records always have guns and drugs and criminal slang versus rap slang. So that's what I call it, the G style, the gangster style of rap.
Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least $1,000. Gold on my neck, my pistol's close at hand.
6 in the morning, police at my door. That's accredited to be the first gangster rhyme.
You had everybody from New York rapping about my Adidas and my chain, this and South Bronx and everything. I wanted to put my city on the map. I'm from Compton. I know about Compton. This is what I've been through. This is what I want to rap about. So we formed N.W.A.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. From the gang called niggas with attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a sawed off. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off.
From the success of N.W.A. in that region, we also started to see rappers represent their own regions. 2 Live Crew represented the bawdiness of Miami with the bass sound. Ghetto Boys represented the blues influence, rough life in the different wards of Houston. The only problem is that there were intense problems going on in these neighborhoods at the same time, so it becomes a very heavy mix of music and also the neighborhood politics.
And welcome to the ghetto. Welcome to the ghetto.
When I walk outside at my door, I don't see no flowers and no, you know what I'm saying, and no ocean and nothing. It's not a pretty sight, so I just do my poetry about what I see.
And my raps that I'm rapping to my community shouldn't be filled with rage. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be filled with the same atrocities that they gave to me. In the media, they don't talk about it.
Rappers have a right to be angry, and I can understand where he's coming from. But if he doesn't tell his community, our community, why they're angry, kids are just going to see anger, and then they're going to clone themselves after that anger. And I bet those kids don't even know why those rappers are filled with rage.
I couldn't help but notice your pain. Share it with me.
Because I didn't have a father, it makes me cold and bitter. It's not like I'm saying, okay, now sympathize with me. I'm saying, remember that I'm telling you I did not have a father. So when you go, what kind of kid is that? What kind of morals do we got? I don't know. I didn't have a father, but I had pimps and drug dealers and robbers and killers telling me what I should do. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no Jesse Jacksons around. You know what I'm saying? Those people weren't around. All those people that pop up and say, we need to check what we're saying and rapping and TV, those people are not around.
I'm sure that Tupac had other people other than pimps and prostitutes and hustlers reaching out to him. It's just what he accepted. And even now, if that's the reality, that's the reality, but there's something more than that, Tupac. I mean, you're making movies, man, you're starring with Janet Jackson. You got an opportunity to do a different thing and send a different kind of message.
During cross-examination, Dan Quayle had criticized the lyrics of what had been locked up in the made bail.
Tupac Shakur got his first dose of jail time in a Los Angeles court on Thursday, having been found.
Why I gotta talk about guns? What makes me the representative for guns?
Rather pop of a shot from my Glock and blast from the sucker.
When did I ever say I was a gangster rapper? You know what I'm saying? I'm a thug.
I think he has split personalities. He's crazy.
I rap about the oppressed taken back.
One day I'm gonna bust, blow up on this society. Why did you lie to me? I couldn't find a trace of equality.
What do you think of Tupac?
Rebel. First thing come to mind, I think Tupac's a rebel.
I get around.
When I think about Tupac, it's kind of funny because I hear a song about how you should protect our women. I see he's getting like charged for sexual harassment or something like this. He's kind of like contradicting himself.
I gotta get mine, you gotta get yours.
Do you feel in any way by having a 40, having a gun and a blunt, if that's glorifying the use of that to children?
It might. I thought about that, you know. I thought about how much that, you know, the 40s and all of that, and I was kind of against it before, but...
My homie Breed knew the time, whether it's rhyme or crime, I gotta get mine.
Whatever I wrote was honest. It might not have been positive, you know what I'm saying? It might not have been politically correct, but I've reached somebody, you know what I'm saying? They relating to me. They relate to the brutal honesty in the rap.
It's all good.
I keep my mind on my money.
Money on my mind.
Finger on the trigger.
Hand on my nine. To little kids that might be influenced by him drinking a 40, that's kind of negative, you know, because they little. I don't want my son coming up, you know, looking at Tupac drinking a 40, thinking when he get 10, he can just go out and get him a 40. You know what I'm talking about? We just gotta be there for our young ones. You know, just tell them about, you know, hey, this right here ain't good. This is what he doing. That's his life. You ain't gotta be like him.
When I was young, I used to get my gun, break out the GTA, and bust at the kids for fun.
Gangster rappers never had easy access to the airwaves. MTV has very strict standards regarding images of gratuitous sex and violence, as do other video outlets. And in 1993, radio stations such as KACE in Los Angeles and WBLS in New York announced they would no longer play songs they considered negative.
It is not a question of censorship. You have the right of free speech in this country, but you don't have the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. And that is what some of these records are doing. They're yelling, shoot in a community that is crowded with guns.
I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the First Amendment. And there is nothing that Ruthless or any other company like us does that we shouldn't be doing.
Ruthless Records was one of the first labels devoted to gangster rap and was the home of N.W.A, whose success was made possible by the label's independence.
Boy, you should have known by now. Easy does.
Easy owns the company, right? He owns Ruthless Records. And if we'd have went to a major company from the beginning with the stuff we had, we'd probably never been out, you know. But since we were doing the records ourselves, put out pretty much anything we want to, you know, and it took off.
I mean, you got people coming that never did gangster rap before, because, okay, say the records that came out, they was commercial, all right? So they commercial, they come out, the records don't sell that much. The next album, when they come out, they want to be gangster. I'm going to be a gangster, this record, man. I got to make myself hard, because that stuff is selling. So everybody jumped on the bandwagon.
Definitely, I think Onyx has redesigned their image over time. We've seen the progression of Dre from the world-class Wrecking Crew times to what he's doing now.
It's just a fact. He wore, you know, a little tight stuff. You know, he had a little tight stuff, you know, eyeliner, lipstick. I mean, it was way out, but whatever he doing, he got to be doing right, and I'm just giving him his props.
Certainly Hammer has redefined his image. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal about the boss having one image when she was in school, I guess, growing up in Michigan. And she says quite plainly in the article, she's a businesswoman. She's out here to get paid and get over in hip-hop. So she's formulated this image now, even though I think she went to private schools when she was growing up. And now she's the boss. We must get into discussions of the marketplace and capitalism, because that also informs what these rappers do and don't do.
I don't consider myself no gangster or nothing like that. I'm in here to make money, you know.
Oh, it don't take away his credibility. It's just showing you that it's a business.
He was probably manipulated by the music industry. They said, this is what you gotta do right now to catch the eye. So he just followed along to make the bucks, and he tried to work his way out of the society. And he did what he had to.
But what Dre did more recently was sell over 3 million copies of his album The Chronic and launch the career of Snoop Doggy Dogg, whose debut solo album sold almost 1 million copies in 1 week. Those 2 albums made Dre's Death Row label very profitable, and to the dismay of their critics, popularized the gangster image more than ever.
People often pick on rappers who's successful. If these guys weren't making any hits, they wouldn't be picking out.
Reverend Calvin Butts, Dionne Warwick, and different people talking about stopping the type of music that I do, and they're only thing they're trying to do is take away jobs. You know, this is our job.
Money is the problem to a large degree. And if you use money to justify what you're doing, you're just like the white man that sold you into slavery in the first place. Money cannot be the justification or the determining factor of whether what we do is right or wrong.
I need a gangster bitch.
Another controversial aspect of the gangster formula is blatantly sexist lyrics, often referring to women as bitches and hoes.
bitches come a dime a dozen. So don't get mad when I your cousin.
You got to remember that a lot of rappers are dealing with nothing but these kinds of women that are coming at them. Oh, who are you? You ain't nobody. Oh, you're Snoop Dogg? Oh, I wasn't nobody a minute ago, ho. You know, now you see money, right? So that's where all the bitches and hoes come from, you know?
Most women today are used to other women or themselves being called a bitch or a hoe, but I still think, personally speaking, it offends me if someone calls me a bitch or a hoe just to say it. I think it's a lack of respect.
Like with me and my girlfriends, like we play around like that. You like, yo, well, bitch, please, and this, that, and the other. It's just, you know when you cross that line. Cause I can understand you playing, but then when you're serious and you call somebody a bitch, you just ready to fight.
Who you calling a bitch?
We feel like it's our duty as females in rap to show that other side, that positive side. We try to tell them to demand respect, and you will get the respect. And they can't call you no hoe and no bitch if they, if you demanding that respect and showing yourself respectful.
You ain't a bitch, you're a hoe.
The message has to come from everybody. It's not a responsibility of female rappers to say, here, you don't call us bitches. It's not like they calling female rappers bitches. They're calling women bitches, so it's the guy's responsibility to say, look, man, that's not cool.
Snoop Doggy, Doggy, whatever his name is.
In early '94, committees in both the House and Senate held hearings in Washington, D.C. on the effects of violent and demeaning imagery in popular music, which sparked a heated debate over the influence of so-called gangster rap music.
It coerces, influences, encourages, and motivates our youth to commit violent behavior, to use drugs and abuse women through demeaning sex acts.
It ain't gonna do nothing. Just might make a few white kids talk crazy. And that's good.
Like I said, niggas can't with this, and niggas can't with that.
Are you ready to order? When I leave work, I'm really hyper because I'm glad that I'm done with my shift and I don't have to deal with the pressures of being perfect on the job, so I just put on some Snoop Dogg or Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and just magnify that mood that I'm in because I'm not ready to go to bed when I get off work. I just want to have some fun.
It's like that, and as a matter of fact, cause I never hesitate to put a fool on his back. Yeah.
Do you think that gangster rap is promoting or contributing to the violent crimes committed by today's youth?
I don't know. The answer is, it depends on what the end of the song is. I mean, what is the purpose of it? Is it to make people understand and empathize with and try to do something about these terrible problems? Or is it to legitimize violence and criminal conduct and ultimately self-defeating behavior? And for me to answer your question, I'd have to know the answer to that, and I just don't know enough to answer it.
I don't think that rap music is the cause of violence. America is a violent place. And I think there are a lot of influences, on violence in this country. And we have to look at some of the root causes of anger and despair.
Took them all out, but I caught one in the stomach.
While there's still no conclusive proof connecting violent behavior with violent rap lyrics, a person's age, race, class, and environment all play a very important role in how these songs are perceived.
This area right now, I've never seen any guns or anything like that. In my backyard, probably the worst thing that goes on is probably like some squirrels fighting or whatever.
When they talk about the ghetto, I can relate to that too. Because it's like every other night, it was like, all you heard was gunshots around my way.
When I hear all these things like this, it's kind of hard for me to relate to. I think about it and it just comes down to, I basically enjoy listening to them for the beats, and they're really talented.
I can relate to it, but that doesn't mean I want to hear it every day or like buy it.
Now they dropping and yelling, it's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate.
I don't think it portrays a very good lifestyle to the young people who listen to it, especially people in the inner cities that face these problems every day.
The other day, boy got shot 18 times in the head. I mean, it happens.
It's glorifying what they see every day.
It's not glorifying violence, it's telling it like it is. Simple.
We can get like Snoop Dogg walking down the street smoking N.W.A, sipping on gin and juice. This is where I started from, and I can't forget where I came from. That's how I feel about gangster music and gangster rap. I feel it'll always be around. It's a way out as far as releasing like stress, you know what I'm saying? Like releasing like where I don't gotta go smoke me a marijuana joint every day, you know what I'm saying? I can listen to me some Snoop Dogg and it'll elevate my mind just like that joint, you know what I'm talking about?
As the debate continues over the influence of rap lyrics, some rappers and their opponents are looking to open constructive dialogue. Reverend Calvin Butts, who last year destroyed explicit rap tapes and CDs, now questions that approach.
The steamroller was in fact what any good parent who was opposed to the filth in some of these records would do. They'd take these things from their children and throw them in the garbage can. I will not do that again. It was a one-time effort to draw attention.
The reason why I think it's hitting the Reverend because he feels that the power that I have right now, if I was doing something positive as far as, hey, don't do drugs, don't do that, I guess he feels that it'll stop the violence, but I'm here to tell you that's not gonna happen. I mean, you know it and I know it, that's not gonna happen. Reverend Butts ain't got no love for us, you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be like that, especially if he's a preacher. You're supposed to counsel us, you know what I'm saying? Maybe if he sit down and said, look here, Snoop, you got that position, why don't you change your rap up like this and be more whoop whoop wham? Maybe I would respect him and when I'm writing, change it up a little taste and give him that right hand, you know what I'm saying, to say, okay, I'm gonna do this for Reverend Butts and change it up.
I don't think that I'm suggesting that if he changes his rap, that will stop the violence. But I think I am suggesting that if we can provide some jobs and some other kinds of things that address what is at the root of these pathologies, we can. And I will try to reach, if somebody will tell me how to get to him.
If there are real perceptions by young males, white, black, red, green, that, you know, women are bitches and hoes, then we better start talking about why they believe that. I say that all these records are always like an alarm. It's an alarm for us to do something.
People want to know how come I got a gap and I'm looking out the window like Malcolm. Ready to bring that noise. Kind of trigger happy like the guitar boys. April 29th was power to the people. And we might just see a sequel. Cause police got equal. Hey, a horse is a pig that don't fly straight. Do it down gates, but it's Willie Williams. Down with the pilgrim. Look at the way y'all kick it. I'm wicked. Get wicked. Look at the way y'all kick it. I'm wicked. Get wicked.
Society itself is failing.
I want that song of respect. I want it
The gangster rap and misogynist lyrics that glorify violence and denigrate women is nothing more than pornographic smut.
And now the attack is on rap. Negative rap is not all right. Negative rap is not all right.
There is no such thing as gangster rap. Rap is rap, period.
People trying to like put a stamp on, you know, the type of music that we do and try to put a hold on it.
I say it's reality. If gangster is reality, I guess that's it. Gangster, it's cool.
Gangster rap is opportunity for people in the ghetto who have nothing to do.
I've never heard anybody use the term gangster rap except in the news.
Basically, I think gangster rap is just hardcore beats with, you know, just dope lyrics on it, you know, just stressing a point of what people go through.
But I think there are those rappers who don't draw the line between education and provoking violence.
There's no such thing as gangster rap. Gangster rap is something somebody gave a name to. There's no definition for it.
If someone was rapping gangster rap, it'd be kind of nice if they had some previous knowledge about it.
With themselves, such as ex-gang members, ex-drug dealers.
All we doing is being reporters like Connie Chung and reporting what's going on. If I was a real gangster, I wouldn't be telling you what's going on, I'd just be doing it.
I'm having a bad day, so stay out of my way. And with the pistol back and people say you better obey.
With all the controversy surrounding so-called gangster rap and its alleged negative effect on America's youth, we asked 6 very different young music fans from around the country what they thought about the music and its message.
Gangster rap is rap that depicts a lifestyle of crime and drugs and sex.
Let me slip, cause if I slip, then I'm slipping. But if I got my Nina, then you know I'm straight tripping.
Is gangster rap determined by your dress, the songs you make, the album you make, the record company you're on, the town that you come from? These are all incredible variables that make it very hard for us to define what it is.
Is Frank Sinatra a gangster singer? You know what I'm saying? Is Steven Seagal a gangster actor?
I think what we have to do is define and understand what these messages are that are coming out of the music. If the messages are excessively violent and negative to society, then we need to talk about them and talk about